Good morning. Welcome. I am Stephen C. You are at Steve C's on TikTok, and it is Sunday, May 18th, 2025. It is 11 a.m. Central Time, and this Sunday, May 18th, 2025. It is 11 a.m. Central Time, and this is our daily Course in Miracles review, Course in Miracles study, using Course in Miracles as a platform and a launching pad for a discussion of our spirituality, mysticism, self-inquiry, impartial self-observation, awakening, esoteric subjects, all those good things. If you are into spirituality, mysticism, and those kinds of subjects, this is the live for you. This is the account for you. Go check out the account and some of the other content that has been uploaded. If you missed the live, you can find a replay on my YouTube channel, also at Stevo C's on YouTube, or search Stephen C on YouTube. There's almost 120 hours of discussion about the Course in Miracles over there on the YouTube channel, so go check it out. And finally, please like this live, share the live, and follow this account. You can also subscribe to this live or to this account to help support the efforts that we make every day talking about the Course in Miracles. And I like to begin each day by reading the introduction to the text as an opening prayer, if you will, a centering prayer to get us in the correct vibrations, sort of establish a baseline. And the introduction to the Course in Miracles says, this is a Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish this. A required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means course does not aim at teaching of love's presence. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing of love's presence. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. Therefore, the course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies peace of God. And so, a very tightly presented, a very succinct summary of the purpose and the direction of the Course in Miracles. So welcome this Sunday morning. Good to see you. One of our subscribers, Mary, is here, and there are other friends here who have liked this live already. Vicki Thompson, nice to see you. Prince of Poems, Robert F. Kennedy, without the Y. Melinda, welcome. Good morning. Nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Please feel free to comment, whether positively or negatively. It is all a matter of perception, isn't it? And we are all entitled to our perceptions. We all have our perceptions and our interpretations of this world, don't we? That is what the Course in Miracles sets out and what the Course in Miracles is about. So feel free to participate, please. Let's see what you got. Please make a contribution. So today is lesson 138. This is the 138th day of the year. Everybody knows the rules. One lesson per day, no more than one lesson per day. And lesson 138 today says, heaven is the decision I must make. These lessons, of course, are the practical application of the theory that is explained in the text, the philosophy or the worldview of the Holy Spirit, which the Course in Miracles calls it, that is set out in the text. The workbook is the practical application of it. And as we read yesterday from the preface, and I'll just point it out again today, the Course says, and I'll just point it out again today, the Course says agreement is not necessary with what the lessons say. You may not agree. I may not understand. I may even be actively opposed to what is being said. The Course says, however, if you simply practice and follow the instructions, practice these lessons of the day, they will become meaningful, and the significance of the meaning and the practical application of these ideas will become apparent. They will dawn upon consciousness. And since the purpose of the Course is a transformation of consciousness, and I can tell you it does work if you work it. I've been working with a group of students and a master teacher, as we refer to her, working with the Course in Miracles for 20 plus years. And it is an effective practice and a very effective spiritual practice that will help reorient consciousness, will help transform consciousness. And as the Course says, that is the universal curriculum. Okay, that is the reason we are here. That is the purpose of our lives, the unified purpose, the one purpose, the one question, why am I here? And the one answer, to remember and to recognize who and what I am. So lesson 138 says, heaven is the decision I must make. In this world, heaven is a choice. Because here we believe there are alternatives to choose between. We think that all things have an opposite, and what we want, we choose. If heaven exists, there must be hell as well. For contradiction is the way we make what we perceive and what we think is real. So there's a lot of good information contained in that first paragraph. Since we perceive the world from a perspective of duality, the perspective of opposites, and the perspective of conflict, therefore, we have to choose this day whom we will serve. We have to choose the kind of thoughts, the type of thoughts, and we have to choose our instructor. Which voice within us will we listen to? And as it says here, there are only two alternatives to choose between: truth or an illusion. A true voice, a voice that represents the truth and speaks the truth, or a voice within us that represents illusions or lies and is the father of lies. So deception, mistrust, suspicion, hate, and death on one side, and on the other, the truth, love, happiness, harmony, peace, and fulfillment. Which will I choose? Which will I choose? It's up to me. So, the first paragraph presents that the split mind. We think all things have an opposite, and what we want, we choose. That is our perception. If heaven exists, there must be a hell. For contradiction is the way we make what we perceive. Perceptions are interpretations according to Course in Miracles. Perceptions are not reality. We can all see the same thing and have different perceptions of it. different perceptions within us of the same thing. We can look at the same thing, and some of us could say yes, some of us could say no, some of us could say okay, some of us could say not okay. Now, of course, will, in contrast to, or as the opposite of what it just presented, will present the other end of the pole, will present the opposite. And it says creation knows no opposite. Horse says creation is what God does, and making things up, constructing things, assembling things from ununified, separate parts, assembling things from separate parts is what the ego does. It does not have a coherent system of thought. It's confused, it's contradictory, self-contradictory, and creation from the mind of God is whole and complete. So creation knows no opposite, or recognizes no opposite. There is no opposite to God. God is all there is. God is all in all. But here on the earth is opposition part of being real, and then puts real in quotes. It is this strange perception of the truth that makes the choice of heaven seem to be the same as the relinquishment of hell. It is not really thus. Yet what is true in God's creation cannot enter here until it is reflected in some form the world can understand. Truth cannot come where it could only be perceived with fear, for this would be the error. Truth can be brought to illusions. Opposition makes the truth unwelcome, and it cannot come. So often as we go through this, I make the suggestion that you, if you don't have a copy of the text, if you don't have the book, go online and search for ACIM.org. The Foundation for Inner Peace, the entire text, the workbook, everything we are going over today is online. So check it out online. Reread this paragraph here. It is not really thus. There are not really opposites. God is all in all. But it says, yet what is true in God's creation cannot enter here until it is reflected or presented in some form we can understand. Choice is the obvious escape from what appears as opposites. Decision lets one of conflicting goals become the aim of effort and expenditure of time. So what is the goal, the direction, the telos, the purpose of my thinking, of my thoughts, of my being? Within the situation I find myself in. Within the situation I find myself a part of. Choice is the method. Choice is the instrument. Making a decision is the mechanism by which I can focus myself in one direction, in a certain direction, in a consistent direction. Without decision, time is but a waste, and effort dissipated. It is spent for nothing in return, and time goes by without results. There is no sense of gain, for nothing is accomplished, nothing learned. You need to be reminded that you think 1,000 choices are confronting you when there is really only one to make. And even this but seems to be a choice. It's not really a choice because we're choosing. I'm choosing between everything or nothing. Nothing doesn't really exist. Nothing is a misperception. Empty space, even scientifically now, is known as a misperception. Misperception, there is no such thing as empty space, for instance. So there is not nothing. Do not, even this seems to be a choice when there's only really one to make. Do not confuse yourself with all the doubts that myriad decisions would induce. You make but one, and when that one is made, you will perceive it was no choice at all, for truth is true and nothing else is true. There is no opposite to choose. Instead, there is no contradiction to the truth, right? That is the truth. So ultimately, there is no your truth and my truth. There's your perception and my perception. There's your opinion and my opinion. But as far as the truth is concerned, which has a certain openness to it, it doesn't really become specific and concrete. The truth is more like a discussion about love in an all-encompassing sense. The specifics of it, the expression of it in the body or on the earth plane, is how it is narrowed down into a specific action. But back at the beginning, at the conceptual level, or at the level of reality, it is more of an experience than a word. It cannot be symbolized. A word is a symbol. So as the Tao says, it can't really be discussed, can't really be defined. If I'm trying to describe truth or God, it can't really be done. It's beyond words, beyond symbols. I mean, did it really happen? Well, that's a good question. What do you think? What do you think, Savage Pie? What do you think, Savage Pie, if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it? Did it really happen? I think what you mean is, does it make a sound if no one hears it? If it fell, it obviously happened. If it doesn't make a sound, if no one hears it, if no one hears it, does it make a sound? What do you think, Savage Pie? I like saying that name, Savage Pie. Welcome. You're such a savage, and yet such a pie, such a cherry pie, such an apple pie. Savage Pie wants to know. Choosing depends on learning. The truth cannot be learned, but only recognized. Oh, whoa, whoa. Savage Pie says it's a spin off of Humble Pie. Savage Pie, Humble Pie. Okay, let's all eat some humble pie. Let's all cultivate our humility. Choosing depends on learning. So, Savage Pie, but what's the answer to your question, Savage Pie? What do you say? If no one's there to hear it, does it make a noise? I don't think so, because no one can hear it, right? The sound occurs if no one hears it. Vibration occurs if no one hears it. That's what I would say. There's possibly a wave propagation, but no one hears it. That's what I would say. There's possibly a wave propagation, but there's no sound if no one hears it, right? Something gets transmitted, but it's not received. There's a transmitter, but no receiver. There is a radio signal, so I guess you're right in that sense. You can transmit a radio signal. If there's no receiver, no one will hear it. Yeah, okay. I'm with you. Depends on how well you hear, Mary says. Mary's kind of a joker. Mary says, depends on how well you hear. So, what are we talking about here in the course? We are talking about heaven is a decision I must make because there appears to be choices here. We appear to be in a realm of duality, and the course is suggesting, the course is saying, hey, practice the workbook, practice this thought system, and see if your perception of duality changes, if your perception of opposites, if your perception of war, conflict and confusion, contradiction, see if your perception of that changes. See if you do not move closer and closer and closer to a unified consciousness or an understanding or knowledge of the mind of God, which the Course says will make us feel a lot better, will heal us, in fact, actually heal us. So, but knowledge is beyond, in recognition, let's see, truth cannot be learned but only recognized. In recognition, its acceptance lies, and as it is accepted, it is known. But knowledge is beyond the goals we seek to teach within the framework of this course. Ours are teaching goals to be attained through learning how to reach them, what they are and what they offer. Decisions are the outcome of any complicated world, or you could leave the word complicated out and just say, in this insane world, heaven appears to take the form of choice rather than merely being what it is. Of all the choices you have tried to make, this is the simplest, most definitive, and prototype of all the rest, the one which settles all decisions. One question, one answer, one problem, one solution. Am I with God or outside of God? Is it possible to be outside of God? Right? Through consciousness, through perception, through consciousness, through the purification of consciousness, through awakening and enlightenment, what happens in a mystical experience? Union, oneness, atonement, at one-ment, resonance, coherence, right? What does this all mean? Can't really be explained, must be experienced. When it is experienced, cannot be denied. Sort of can be denied outside of myself, but the denial of it, once I have experienced it, becomes meaningless, right? Once I've done something, and I know I've done something, then someone telling me I don't know what that is hardly matters, right? So, right? It is what it is, as we like to say. Of all the choices you have tried to make, this is the simplest, most definitive, and prototype of all the rest, the one which settles all decisions. If you could decide the rest, this one remains unsolved. But when you solve this one, the others are resolved with it. For all decisions but conceal this one by taking different forms. Here is the final and the only choice in which truth is accepted or denied. So the salvation must be, it goes on to talk about how the ego thinks of salvation. Salvation is death. Heaven is achieved by dying. Heaven is something in the future. Heaven is not right now. So we want to correct our thoughts and realize that in this moment of now, of the holy instant, heaven is available, perfection is available, happiness, joy, peace, and fulfillment is available beyond any circumstances, beyond any conditions. Conditions and circumstances become meaningless. Many of them, all of them, become meaningless before many of them are healed or changed. Some of them may not even change. They may not change, so I continue to go deeper and deeper and deeper into the self, capital S, into the awareness and knowledge of the truth, deeper and deeper, deeper understanding. Some conditions may not change. Once I understand that conditions change because of my thinking, and so some of them will change, then I'll understand, but then some of them might be held back by the Holy Spirit. Some of them may not change, so that I continue, right? The old carrot and the stick routine. So I continue moving forward so I do not become spiritually complacent, right? So it's all about thinking makes it so. What is my interpretation? What is my perception? Am I listening to the voice of the Holy Spirit and receiving encouragement and motivation, positive motivation? Or am I listening to the voice of the ego that criticizes and judges and just is Debbie Downer the whole time, always catastrophizing, always looking at the dark side of things, worst case scenario, victim consciousness? Or have I dispensed with that, dissolved it, undone it, don't pay any attention to that anymore? Talk to the hand, right? Talk to the hand. This is a choice. This is a decision. Mary says, put seizure in the past, it stopped. So I think Mary has shared with us that she has a brain condition going on or something. Put seizure in the past and it stopped. That's good to hear. And then Savage Pie says, have you read Carl Jung, Man and His Symbols? Yes, I have, Savage Pie. Have you? Come on, man. You're not answering our questions. You're not answering my questions. Have you read Carl Jung? Yes, many people. I bet Mary has read Carl Jung also. I like Carl Jung as far as he goes. I like it. He's on the right track. Mary is confirming she has read Carl Jung. So, the mad beliefs of the ego, what the Course says here is these mad beliefs can gain unconscious hold of great intensity and grip the mind with terror and anxiety so strong that it will not relinquish its ideas about its own protection. So, as we've been talking about this past week, defense, attack, protection, danger, weakness, strength, right? These pairs of opposites, which we're talking about today, continuing to talk about today, give up the idea of opposites, realize there's only one thing, which we can call God, spirit, oneness, unification, the one, unified consciousness, nirvana. We can call it any of those things, individuation, as Carl Jung called it, perhaps, right? Yin and yang, the Tao, Brahma, can use all those words, which again are symbols, and then are cultural symbols. So a diversity of symbols describing one thing. So talking about gripping the mind with terror and anxiety so strong, terror, so strong that it will not relinquish its ideas about its own protection. So it gets flipped around. It must be saved from salvation. It must be threatened to be safe and armored against the truth. So this is the condition or the state we find ourselves in through listening to the ego mind, the separated consciousness, the personality, the selfish, self-centered voice that tries to do everything on its own. These decisions are made unaware to keep them safely undisturbed, apart from question and reason and doubt. Conversely, heaven is chosen consciously. The choice cannot be made until alternatives are accurately seen and understood. So Abraham Hicks will talk about this. Right? She talks about knowing what you do not want so that you know what you do want. So while we're complaining that what we do not want keeps happening to us, she calls it the vortex. Esther Hicks says what we do want is in the vortex, some invisible, right? Heaven, it's in heaven, it's waiting for us. Or it relates to Neville Goddard's teaching. It's there, it's all there in potentia, in potential, in the quantum field, if you want to go 21st century science. In superposition, everything exists in superposition, or everything exists in the multiverse, or in the infinite timelines. And when we choose it, when we concentrate on it, when we call for it, it collapses. The wave form collapses into matter or particles or photons of light. Okay, so heaven is chosen consciously. The choice cannot be made until alternatives are accurately seen and understood. And here we get a little Jung, if you will, shadow work, the unconscious and the collective unconscious. So it says here, all that is veiled in shadows must be raised to understanding, to be judged again, this time with heaven's help. Or as Jung says, all that shadow material has to come up, be exposed to consciousness, and then sublimated. Is that the term he used? Sublimated. It has to become part of the individuation process, right? Spooky action at a distance, Savage Pie says. Brain generates enough electricity to power a flashlight. So the Course here is saying there has to be a conscious decision has to be made, and it has to be then fortified. Make a decision, stay with the decision. Make a decision to uncover the unconscious. Make a decision to do shadow work. Make a decision to heal. This time with heaven's help, with the help of the Holy Spirit, with the help of something else within us which knows the truth. All mistakes in judgment the mind has made before are open to correction. And the Course takes the Christian terminology and redefines it so that sin becomes correction. Sin, which cannot be recovered from. I was listening to a guy called Russ Dizdar, Dizdar, I think, or Dar, Dizdar, Dar, I guess, Dizdar, who deals with spirit possession and spiritual warfare. I don't think he's with us in the body anymore. And the discussion is very Christian, okay? But I was just listening to something this morning. Of course, he was talking about people being damned to hell forever beyond redemption, which I just find funny. I mean, I guess so. Maybe some energies or something, of course, exist which are supposed to be there, which represent the other end of the pole. But I don't think anyone's beyond redemption. I don't think anyone is eternally damned to hell and suffering. Anyway, it's just comical at this point to me. Thanks for the follow, Savage Pie. Thank you for the follow. And of course, we'll all go and check out Savage Pie. Go look up Savage Pie. Let's see what kind of content Savage Pie is into. Go check out that account. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. So, all mistakes in judgment that the mind has made before are open to correction or forgiveness or redemption, as the truth dismisses them as causeless. So the Course takes a little different perspective and says, sin doesn't really exist. Yes, it's perceived. Yes, we see it. It's an illusion. It's part of a dream. It doesn't exist in reality. So beyond the world that I see is another world, which in Christian terms may be called heaven. But it's an aspect of consciousness. It's here, right now. Holy instant, of course, calls it. The mistakes in judgment, the mistakes in perception are dismissed as causeless. Now they are without effects. They cannot be concealed, they cannot be hidden, they cannot be suppressed because their nothingness is recognized. And again, as I often point out, the psychological references and terminology are included in this text because the authors of the text were psychology professors at Columbia University. And you can read that story in the preface to the Course in Miracles. Helen Schuckman and William Thetford were professors at Columbia University, very involved in the world, the preface says. And she started receiving these transmissions, starseed transmissions, or transmissions from starseed transmissions is Ken Carey. Just thought of that title, Starseed Transmissions. If you haven't read that from Ken Carey, I don't think he's in the body anymore, not in that body anyway. But Helen Schuckman started to receive transmissions from what she called the voice of Jesus. She started to hear a voice in her head. She started to write it down. William Thetford then typed it up. She wrote it down in shorthand. He typed it up. This is the text. It happened in the 70s, the 1970s. And this is what we have. So heaven is a decision I must make. I make it now. I will not change my mind. That's the power of the mind, power of decision. I can decide something and make it so. Heaven is the decision I must make, because there appears to be choices here. So I'm going to make one choice, stick with it. That's what a decision is. I make it now. I will not change my mind because it is the only thing I want. So the idea being, of course, there is no opposite to heaven. Really, there is no hell. And if you can hear the Christian teachings differently, or as I would say, correctly, so Jesus dies on the cross, buried, spends 3 days in the tomb, and 3 days in the tomb, he descends to hell and redeems certain souls in hell, right? Am I correct? Am I not correct? I believe that is the Christian interpretation. He descends to hell, which many people believe is a place, but we're saying it's not a place, neither is heaven a place. It is a state of consciousness, a way. I am the way, the truth, the life, a way of being. I am the way. I am the door. I am open-minded. I am an open consciousness. In any case, Jesus descends into hell, or in Jungian terms, into the subconscious, into the, let's call them negative archetypes. Let's call them dark archetypes, right? The evil stepmother, Kali, or Shiva, the destroyer, descends into hell and redeems those souls, descends into the subconscious and redeems thoughts, redeems thoughts of negativity. And so they have no effect, right? According to the Course in Miracles. And so consciousness is unified. I've forgiven, I've given up the idea of duality, the idea of opposites, and so I've accepted the idea of heaven without an opposite. So if there is no hell, if there is no darkness, I cannot be attacked. And just 3 lessons ago, please go back, go to the YouTube channel, go to lesson 135. Check out the discussion from just 3 days ago. If I defend myself, I'm attacked. So if I, then, as we noted 3 days ago, lesson 153 says, in my defenselessness, my safety lies. So a state of mind, put up thy sword, Peter. A state of consciousness that recognizes there is no conflict, there is no war, there is no violence, okay? Which in the Course in Miracles is the lesson of the crucifixion. There can be no, violence against the body. If the consciousness, if the mind is healed, the body is healed. The body is an effect of the mind. Savage Pie says men wrote the Bible. Yeah. And Savage Pie says, what is or what was your profession? Savage Pie, I'm a Renaissance man, but I worked in the hospitality industry. I've worked light construction, handyman stuff. I'm an actor, writer. Now I'm doing the social media. So wherever I am directed, that's what I do. And I like to travel and do research and study many subjects. Polyglot, is that what that means? Polyglot. I'm interested in many things, and I have done many things. Spent about 16 years after college in Chicago, and then I spent 24 years out in Los Angeles. Now I'm back in the Midwest, in a small town in the Midwest. So let's go. Where are you from? What do you do? Come on, man. You're not answering any questions, Savage Pie. This is now the third time I've asked you, what do you do? What have you done, Savage Pie? Well, maybe you could come back tomorrow and answer, or next weekend, or whatever. But we want to know. Giving and receiving are one, Savage Pie. So let's also quickly go through the text. We like to go through the text after the workbook lesson. Corresponding portion of the text, chapter 16, section 4, the illusion and the reality of love, the ego mind, the mind of separation, the mind of differences, the mind of conflict, judgment, corruption, develops special relationships or has an illusory concept of love. And there is the reality of love, God's love. There is no love but God's. God is love. Love created me like itself. So the illusion or the reality of love. It says, be not afraid to look upon the special hate relationship, for freedom lies in looking at it. Okay, this is from the text. That's an echo of the statement that was just made in the workbook lesson. We have to process, we have to look at the darkness, and we have to stare into the abyss. But unlike Nietzsche, we will not be captured by the abyss. We will not fall into the abyss. We're just going to look, and we'll pretty much get the picture. Okay. Then we're going to realize there's a bridge across it, or we can turn around and go back to where we came from. We don't have to deal with the abyss. The abyss doesn't really exist. It's an illusion. It's part of a dream. It's part of the simulation. Be not afraid to look upon the special hate relationship, for freedom lies in looking at it and realizing it is causeless, realizing it is meaningless. So all the garbage on the television about politics and the elite and the oligarchs and the stealing and the corruption, it's kind of fun to look at, right? But Course is saying, look at it, then dismiss it. Do not allow it to capture your attention. Do not allow it to capture my attention. It's all the same. It's all untrue. It all is not there. It's being projected onto the screen of existence, onto the screen of experience from individual and collective unprocessed emotional trauma, rejection, hurt, disappointment, abandonment. It's all projected outside of ourselves, and it's all mixed up, jumbled up. Then specters and ghosts and goblins and trolls are constructed out of it and given to us, presented to us. Shadows projected on the cave wall, if you will. And the game of awakening is, will we realize they are only shadows projected on the wall, or will we get sucked in? Will we give our attention, our focus, and our energy, will we voluntarily give it away to illusions, shadows, specters, goblins, trolls? It's not necessary. So I can ask myself, what would happen if I withdraw my energy from it and bring my energy back within me? Wow, I like the way that looks on the screen. Look at that, watch. Ooh, that's nice. Will I take it, withdraw it from without, put it within, take it back, reclaim my energy, reclaim my focus, reclaim the truth of my being? Am I willing to persist until that picture outside of myself changes? And am I paying attention closely enough to notice the changes? Oh, that wasn't there before. I never saw that before. Oh, where did that thing go? Never mind. I didn't like it anyway. It wasn't serving me anymore. That's fine that it disappeared. Oh, look what popped. Look at what's in its place. Oh, I like that much better. I like the rehab on that property. Really looks nice now. I like the gentrification. Right? I like the healing. I like the emotional, mental, and physical healing. It feels so much better. This is so much more enjoyable. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, God. Right? Be not afraid to look upon the special hate relationship, for freedom lies in looking at it. It would be impossible not to know the meaning of love except for this. So it goes on to talk about, we're going to wrap this up soon. It goes on to talk about that hate, that the darkness, that defensiveness and attack are used to obscure the truth in consciousness. So special hate relationship is covered up, it's hidden. What is it covered up by? By a special love relationship. Oh, I love you so much. I hate my job. I hate that politician. I hate the neighbor, but I love you. And this is the ego's illusory definition of love, according to the Course in Miracles. The ego goes, oh, I love you. We love each other. I hate that guy. I hate what's happening over there. I hate, but I love my country. I love my family. I love my whatever. You can switch them around however you want. I love that politician. I hate that politician. So special hate relationship, special love relationship. And the Course says those go together. Those actually aren't two things. Those are two sides of the same coin. And it's an illusion. That's part of the dream. That's part of the deception. And over here is the truth. Only love. The same everywhere for everyone. Takes some work. It does take some work. Special love relationship in which the meaning of love is hidden is undertaken solely to offset the hate, but not to let it go. Ah, ooh, that's a big one. Special love relationship, an ego relationship, a loving relationship to get something that I think I don't have myself. In truth, I have everything. You have everything. We are everything, holographically, individually and collectively. The part is whole. The whole is whole. The parts are whole. Parts make up the whole. The whole is made of parts. It's holographic. The entire ocean is contained in the wave. The entire ocean is contained in the drop. And the entire ocean is made up of waves and drops that individuate and then fall back into the ocean. And then individuate, according to Jung, right? Or according to Hindus, according to many Eastern teachings, religions, Eastern mysticism, cycle of rebirth. Don't trip. Multiple timelines, multiverse, infinite moment of now, all contained within this moment of now, all contained within this holy instant. Your salvation will rise clearly before your open eyes as you look on this. Oh, special love and special hate are connected. They're actually two sides of one coin. Goes on to say, well, it says you cannot limit hate. The special love relationship will not offset it, but will merely drive it underground and out of sight. So again, that's the trick that the ego uses. Oh, but I'm so loving. I'm so loving. I'm so kind. I'm so gentle. Hey, get out of my parking place. Yeah, you cut me off on the freeway. I love you. I love you. Those go together. It is the attempt to balance hate with love that makes love meaningless. The extent of the split that lies in this, you do not realize. Hello? And until you do, the split will remain unrecognized and therefore unhealed. The symbols of hate against the symbols of love play out a conflict that does not exist. Symbols stand for something else. And the symbol of love is without meaning if love is everything. So now it's very subtle argument there, starts a very subtle argument. Symbols, reality and symbols of reality are opposites, are not the same. Perceptions of reality, symbols of reality, and reality are not the same. Right, so all this yapping I'm doing is a symbol. The words, the talking about something, right? So the Zen master is questioned by the student and is asked, the master is asked, what is reality? And what does the master do? Right? She doesn't answer. What is reality? There you go. You're free. You're free. There you go. No problem. Symbols stand for something else. The symbol of love is without meaning if love is everything. You will go through this last undoing quite unharmed and will at last emerge as yourself. The special love relationship is an attempt to limit the destructive effects of hate by finding a haven in the storm of guilt. Woo! That's a big sentence right there, too. First sentence, third paragraph, chapter 16, section 4. A special love relationship is an attempt to limit the destructive effects of hate by finding a haven in the storm of guilt. So when we hate, judge, criticize, condemn ourselves or others, that generates guilt. We suppress the guilt, forget about it, hide it from ourselves because we hate, and then we don't talk about it, and we go to Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner, and love on our family. But that special love relationship is a cover, is a veil pulled over first the guilt, which is a screen for the reality of love. So this is some good stuff here. Love is not an illusion, it is a fact. Where disillusionment is possible, there was not love, hate, right? So how many times have you been married? How many times have you made marriage vows? How many boyfriends or girlfriends have you had? There are no triumphs of love. Only hate is at all concerned with the triumph of love, right? So disillusionment. Oh, she's the one. I can tell she's the one. 3 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later. No, she's not the one. In fact, she just asked me to leave. Right? So special love, special hate. Hate is not real if I can look at hateful things, if I can look at the things I hate and realize there's nothing there. If I can look with the Holy Spirit, if I can look with the experience of truth, with the intention of finding the truth, and maybe I can look at it and watch it disappear, fade away, lose its hold on me, lose its grip on me. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. It is not necessary to seek for what is true, but it is necessary to seek for what is false. The via negativa, the Catholic Church calls that. Remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. So we don't need to seek the truth, we are the truth, but we must seek out and find the blocks or barriers to truth. They have to be defined, and they have to be found. An inventory has to be taken, you could say. And then a request, a work order has to be put in for forgiveness, for redemption. And then recognize this. Truth must be recognized if it is to be distinguished from illusion. Special love relationship is an attempt to bring love into separation. And as such, it is nothing more than an attempt to bring love into fear and make it real in fear. Goes on for many more paragraphs, so I'm going to wrap this up for today. And I'll just cover the last paragraph. So we went over 3 or 4 of them. There's 13 paragraphs in the text today, so that's pretty substantial read. Check it out online, acim.org. So it's talking about special relationships which are illusory, and the reality of love, which is, it is what it is. You are it. I am it. We are it. God is it. True love, real love. So the last paragraph says, if special relationships of any kind would hinder God's completion, can they have any value? What would interfere with God must interfere with you. Only in time does interference in God's completion seem to be possible. The bridge that he would carry you across lifts you from time into eternity. Waken from time and answer fearlessly the call of him who gave eternity to you in your creation, or her. On this side of the bridge to timelessness, you understand nothing. But as you step lightly across it, upheld by timelessness, you are directed straight to the heart of God. At its center, and only there, you are safe forever, because you are complete forever. There is no veil. The love of God in us together cannot lift. The way to truth is open. Follow it with me, which is the voice of Jesus, which is I am consciousness, which is Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, Krishna consciousness. As our new friend here, Savage Pie, brought up Carl Jung today. Right? As Jung would say, complete the individuation process. Process all that shadow until you realize it's all the same. And as the Course says, it's not really there. The only reason it's there is because I'm giving it attention and energy. So a little bit beyond Carl Jung, if you will, a little bit higher, a little bit further. Jung could only go so far. He was taking enough heat as it was. So thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you for your comments, participation. Thank you for your likes, the follows, subscriptions if you choose to subscribe. Thank you. Thank you for your support. And yeah, it just keeps getting better and better, these lives every day at 11 a.m. Central Time. If you missed the live and you want to see what we talked about, or you want to catch up on some of the previous ideas or concepts, you can go to the YouTube channel. There's a link in the bio, in the account bio, or search at Steve O'C's, same name, over on YouTube. Okay, so have a great Sunday. Thanks for being here. I will talk to you soon. Peace and blessings. Love you. Have a great day.